On December 12, 1531, an indigenous Aztec convert named Juan Diego witnessed something that would transform millions of lives. The Blessed Virgin Mary appeared to him on Tepeyac Hill in Mexico City, leaving her miraculous image on his humble cactus-fiber cloak. Nearly 500 years later, scientists still struggle to explain how that image got there, how it has survived, and what technology could possibly reproduce its extraordinary properties. While skeptics dismiss the tilma as pious exaggeration, the evidence points towards something far beyond human capability, something that confronts materialist assumptions and opens a window into divine intervention. Today, we are examining 7 major scientific studies that confirm the Tilma of Guadalupe defies known physics and chemistry. If you are interested in deepening your faith, hit like and tell me where you are watching from. Consider subscribing to stay rooted in Catholic truth. Support our videos, team, and tools. Link in description or scan the QR code on screen. When researchers first began serious scientific analysis of the tilma in the 20th century, they expected to find explanations grounded in known artistic techniques, preservation methods, or chemical treatments. What they discovered instead challenged everything they knew about textile science, art history, and material decay. The tilma is made from maguey cactus fibers, a coarse material that typically disintegrates within 15 to 20 years, especially in humid and salty environments like that surrounding the Basilica of Guadalupe. Yet Juan Diego's cloak has endured for nearly 5 centuries without protective treatment for its first 116 years, exposed continuously to candle smoke, incense, humidity, salty air, and the touches of countless pilgrims. Dr. Adolfo Orozco, physicist and researcher, confirmed at the International Marian Congress that the conservation of the tilma is completely beyond any scientific explanation. To demonstrate this impossibility, a replica was commissioned in 1789 using the best artistic techniques of the time, protected by glass from the start, and displayed near the basilica where the original tilma had been kept. Within 8 years, the replica's colors had faded and its threads were breaking. It was discarded as unusable. This is not an isolated case. All similar cloths placed in the same environment have lasted no more than 10 years. The tilma should not exist, yet it does, radiant and intact, a silent witness demanding scientific humility and theological consideration. The apparition of Our Lady of Guadalupe stands firmly within the long biblical tradition of divine signs confirming God's care for his people. In the book of Exodus, God gave Moses signs: a staff transforming into a serpent, a hand becoming leprous and then healed, to authenticate his divine mission before Pharaoh and the Israelites. When Gideon doubted his calling to deliver Israel from the Midianites, he asked God for a sign, and the Lord graciously provided the miracle of the fleece, wet with dew while the ground remained dry, and then the reverse. In the Gospel according to John, Jesus performed his first sign at Cana, transforming water into wine, thereby revealing his glory and strengthening his disciples' faith. These miracles were not arbitrary displays of power, but pedagogical signs, revealing God's character and confirming his messengers. The tilma of Guadalupe functions precisely as such a sign, not to coerce belief, but to invite it, to open hearts closed by prejudice or hardened by suffering. The early church fathers understood that God accommodates himself to human weakness through tangible signs. St. Augustine writes in his work on the usefulness of believing that God provides miracles not to astonish us, but to lead us to understanding. The tilma appeared at a moment of catastrophic cultural collision when the indigenous peoples of Mexico faced decimation, exploitation, and the destruction of their world. Our Lady came not as a conquering European Madonna, but as an indigenous mother, speaking Nahuatl through Juan Diego, wearing the clothing of an Aztec princess, and displaying symbols that communicated divine truth in the visual language of the Aztec people. Within 7 years of the apparition, 9 million indigenous people converted to Catholicism, the largest mass conversion in Christian history, not through coercion, but through encounter with a mother who showed them the face of her son. The tilma, therefore, is not a curiosity. It is a proclamation of the incarnation in indigenous flesh, affirming that Christ came for all peoples, that the gospel transcends every culture while honoring each one. The first major scientific study occurred in 1946 when researchers analyzed fibers from the tilma and confirmed it was made from agave plant fibers, though they could not determine which of the 175 agave species was used. This finding was significant because agave fiber, though common for indigenous cloaks, is known for its rapid deterioration, especially without treatment. The second study, conducted by Nobel Prize-winning chemist Richard Kuhn, examined the pigments of the image and found no natural, animal, or mineral colorings. And since synthetic dyes did not exist in 1531, the coloring of the image remains scientifically inexplicable. The third study, performed in 1979 by Dr. Philip Callahan, a biophysicist at the University of Florida and NASA consultant, used infrared photography to analyze the tilma. Callahan discovered there were no brush strokes, no sizing, no preliminary drawings, and no corrections on the original image of the Virgin. It appeared to have been produced in a single step, an impossibility for human artistry. The fourth scientific observation, confirmed by Callahan and his colleague Jody Smith, is that the image exhibits iridescence, meaning the colors change slightly depending on the viewing angle, a phenomenon that cannot be reproduced by human hands using available technology of the 16th century. The fifth study involved ophthalmology and digital photography. Engineer Jose Astetonsman magnified the pupils of the Virgin's eyes by 2,500 times and discovered tiny human figures reflected there, including what appears to be Bishop Zumárraga and other witnesses to the miraculous moment when Juan Diego opened his tilma. The sixth finding revealed that these eye reflections exhibit the Purkinje-Sanson effect, a triple reflection pattern that occurs in living human eyes when light enters them. This optical phenomenon was unknown in the 16th century and is virtually impossible to paint. The seventh study documented two miraculous preservations of the tilma itself. In 1785, a worker accidentally spilled 50% nitric acid on the cloth, a substance that should have destroyed the fabric and image instantly, yet it caused no damage to the colored portions. And in 1921, a bomb exploded at the base of the tilma, breaking marble floors and windows 150 meters away. Yet the ordinary glass protecting the tilma remained intact, and the cloth itself was completely undamaged. For daily Catholic resources, visit our website or scan the QR code. You will find daily Mass readings, Seven Sorrows Rosary, devotional prayers, and Soul Search, a private web app for daily examination of conscience with guided reflections, progress tracking, and secure journaling. These 7 scientific findings converge toward a singular conclusion. The tilma cannot be explained by natural processes or human artistry and points unmistakably towards supernatural origin. Skeptics raise legitimate questions about the tilma, and we must address them charitably and honestly. Some claim that the tilma has simply been replaced over the centuries whenever it deteriorated, making preservation claims irrelevant. However, this objection ignores the continuous historical documentation of the tilma from 1531 onward, including detailed paintings and written descriptions from the 16th and 17th centuries that match the current image. Moreover, the tilma has been under constant public veneration and scientific observation since the 18th century, making secret replacement impossible. Others suggest that the tilma might have been chemically treated to preserve it. Yet, Dr. Callahan's infrared analysis found no evidence of sizing or chemical treatment on the original image, and the agave fibers themselves show no signs of preservation methods known to 16th century Mexico. A common skeptical argument claims that detailed brushstrokes or undersketches must exist but have simply been overlooked. The Center for Applied Research in the Apostolate published an interim report acknowledging that while some disputed claims about the tilma lack verification, such as the constant body temperature claim, the infrared studies by Callahan definitively showed no brush strokes or preparatory sketches on the original Virgin image. Some non-Catholic Christians express concern that Marian devotion detracts from Christ. The Catechism addresses this in paragraph 971. Teaching that all the salvific influence of the Blessed Virgin on humanity originates from the divine pleasure of the Father and flows through Christ, never apart from him. The tilma does not point to Mary as an end in herself, but as the one who always directs us to her Son, evident in her posture of prayer and the indigenous symbols on the image identifying her as the bearer of the true God. These objections, when examined carefully, do not diminish the evidence, but rather sharpen our understanding of what makes the Tilma genuinely extraordinary and beyond natural explanation. The Tilma of Guadalupe is not merely a historical artifact or an apologetic curiosity, it is a living sign of God's maternal love for all peoples, particularly the poor, the marginalized, and those dismissed by worldly power. Pope Benedict XIV, upon seeing the image for the first time in 1754, wept and declared the words of Psalm 147, "God has not dealt in like manner with any other nation." The message of Guadalupe remains urgent today, calling us to recognize the dignity of every human person as beloved by God, made in His image, and worthy of encounter with Jesus Christ. If the scientific evidence of the Tilma moves you, let it deepen your faith in the God who accommodates Himself to our need for signs while always respecting our freedom. Pray the Rosary, especially the joyful mysteries that recount Mary's cooperation with the Incarnation, asking her to help you recognize Christ present in the suffering and marginalized around you. Attend Mass this week with renewed awareness that the Eucharist is an even greater miracle than the Tilma, not an image of Christ, but His true body, blood, soul, and divinity. If you have drifted from the sacraments, let Our Lady of Guadalupe lead you back to confession, where you will encounter not condemnation, but the Father's merciful embrace. Finally, share the story of Guadalupe with someone who struggles with doubt, presenting not only the scientific evidence, but the greater truth it reveals. God is not distant or indifferent. He comes close, speaks our language, respects our culture, and invites us into communion with Him. If this helped you, share it with a friend, subscribe, and check out our web app for daily Catholic resources and soul search. The Tilma that should have crumbled into dust centuries ago still proclaims, God's love endures, His mother intercedes, and the impossible becomes reality when heaven touches earth.